Welcome to Something Nice with Dinano. I am your host, Dinano Damano, also known as Dinilo Hlanga Mikuto. Today, as the title and everything on the thumbnail says, we are joined by one of our channel most popular people, Yahunde Batakane. We are talking about the developments that are happening in the Congo DRC. This is a continuation of our conversation that we had a couple of weeks back, where a lot of you were challenging Yahunde on what he had to say. He is somewhere in East Africa. I won't mention the country, but he is a native of the DRC. Yahunde was born in the DRC, spent some time there. He left and he keeps going back because it's his native country. His connection is not that great. So what we're going to do for this conversation is just have him come in video. If he's struggling with his connection, we'll allow him to just bring in the audio. Let us see if he'll be able to hear us. I hope we won't struggle with the connection issue. Yahunde, welcome to Something Nice with Dinano. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you, brother. Thank you for making time for this one. We have people, about 14 people watching us, and we want to hear what you have today to have to say. It's already beginning to be a bit controversial on the comments. I'm going to ask Dark Side to, we must express ourselves. We must also express how we feel about what Yahunde has to say, but let's keep it respectful. We also acknowledge Biblia Bears Tabu, who says, good to see both of you. Thank you for joining us, Biblia. Dark Side, he has something controversial to say. He says Yahunde is an ignorant tribalist. We had a lot of people who were saying such, Yahunde, when you came out and you just gave a brief history and intro on what is really happening in the DRC. A lot of people challenged what you had to say. I must say, I did call you, and I also said that some of the things you were saying had some tribalist elements to it. Do you just want to clarify on those issues that I personally accused you of being tribalistic on? It looks like Dark Side also picked up something similar.
Well, I remember our last conversation. Thank you for having me, by the way, and I'm glad to be here to be able to have this engage in this conversation with everybody again. And I'm not sure who Dark Side is, but thank you for being with us, brother, Dark Side or sister. The conversation last time we talked about. I mean, we had a conversation with you where you asked me, whether I've been, whether I had any tribalistic side to the conversation. And I remember telling you, no, not really. Because why? Because, like I said again, I've lived with different people from different backgrounds. I've lived with both Hutus, Tutsis, from the Congo. Obviously, Congo has had all these people around for as far as I've been alive. So to say that I have any tribalistic side, and I think it is because I was highlighting the factors that have been done, have been the factors that Rwanda has been significantly involved in the Congo, and the fact that I was showing that particularly it was a lot of most of the rebel groups that have been involved in the Congo have been many of them. I would say more than 90% of them have been Tutsis who are from the tribe of the Tutsi people. And that you can fact check that with any UN report. You can fact check that with any books that have been written on this, that have covered the history for the last 30 years. Now, what I wanted to clarify as well on that factor was that I'm not saying that all the Tutsis are criminals. I'm not saying that it's every Tutsi that is involved, because I know a lot of Tutsis who are actually victims of the Rwandan, regime, the Kagame's regime, the Kigali's regime. And I remember last time you asked me this question, and I didn't have a list of a few people, but I can tell you there's a former intelligence by the name Theoneste Lizinde, who was a former intelligence officer who was killed in Nairobi, who was a Tutsi, right? This Tutsi who worked for Kagame, and after he realized what Kagame was doing was not good, because there are people who are in both sides of this story. There are people who are aware of what's happening and who are not happy with it. And there are people who are here to perpetrate the lies of the Kigali's propaganda to be able to silence a genocide that's happening on the next side of the country. So for me, I don't care about which tribe you come from. I'm here to share the truth about what's happening. I have a second person on the list is Patrick Karegeya. This is a former Rwandan intelligence chief, right? These are high-ranking officers who was strangled in Johannesburg, South Africa in 2013. Karegeya had fled Rwanda and co-founded the opposition Rwandan National Congress. This guy was assassinated in South Africa, right? The third one is Major Jean-Marie Mikombero. Mikombero was a former presidential guard commander. He was also reportedly imprisoned in 2018 for having to speak against Kagame's regime. The following one is Kizito Mihigo. This is a brother we all loved. He was a gospel artist. He was a very famous brother during his time. Mihigo used to teach about unity, about love, right? About the need for Rwanda to seek. He was a Tutsi. This is a Tutsi brother who taught about the need for Rwanda to work together. Or for the Hutu and Tutsi, because he believed, most of these people believed that the Kagame's regime was an apartheid-like regime that prioritized the Tutsis over the Hutu. Mihigo believed that the Hutus and Tutsis should be able to live in peace in Rwanda, and that the system, that the Kagame system that perpetrate crimes against, that bring justice against the Hutus who committed a crime in Rwanda is very one-sided. There's no justice for the Tutsis who committed crime in Rwanda as well. And so what happened to Mihigo? Mihigo was in prison, and he was killed in prison. The following one is David Himbara. David Himbara had an attempt assassination on him. He was a former Kagame's advisor and critic, now living in exile. Himbara has written extensively on Kagame's rule, stating in Kagame's ruling field, one of the book which he called anyone, he writes and say, anyone who dares to challenge the regime is either silenced, jailed, and eliminated. I remember speaking these words in my own words last time when we had a conversation, and this brother here quotes the same thing. This is a former Kagame's advisor. Now the next one is Kayumba Nyamwasa. This is a former Rwandan general who survived multiple assassinations attempts, and he was shot in South Africa in 2010. So Kagame's hand is not just in Congo. It's not just in Rwanda. It's everywhere the continent where he's allowed, right? He's a criminal without border, where he's allowed to do all these crimes in every part of the continent. There's a lot. At least could go on, but that's just to show you that I'm not here for tribalism. No, I'm here for justice.
Hold on, Yahunde. So you're making accusations. I've heard some of these people, specifically the person that was killed here in South Africa. There was a lot reported on it. But what guarantee do we have that it was the current president of Rwanda that allowed, that sanctioned that murder to happen?
There's a French, it's not a French, it's a private journalism company, right, in Europe that is working with both Hutus and Tutsis who have been victim of what's happening in Rwanda. They've done a tremendous work, right, in explaining what's happening, what's the crimes that have been committed, and how these crimes are directly connected to Kagame. Now you can say that there's no evidence, brother Dinano, but let's look at who these people are, the political position these people held, and why they are threats to Kagame regime. These people have publicly denounced, publicly exposed Kagame, because they know secret, they have information. These people are with the close ties of Kagame, and they've been able to expose what's going on in Rwanda. and Kagame himself, when he killed when this guy died, Kayumba. I know it wasn't Kayumba. It was the other guy that died, Karagea. When he was assassinated in Johannesburg, Kagame himself said that we will not tolerate people. He said this when somebody asked him in an interview. He didn't say that he killed them, but he said we will not tolerate anything that jeopardize our government system. That's what he said. To me, whether you want to take that as a yes or a no, Kagame didn't deny the allegations.
Fair enough.
Never did.
I hear you. I hear you.
Okay.
But to be fair to you, there were people who were also commenting and also liking what you had to say, right? Yeah. Let's just read one of the comments that was written on that last post when we had a conversation about what's happening in the DRC. This is a gentleman from Uganda. He says, I'm from Uganda. What he said, it is very true. Museveni and Kagame, they want to take not only Congo, but they want all African countries to be under their control, to make other people who are not Tutsi. It is the same thing happening in Uganda in every business and government offices. You only find long Tutsi. In Uganda, people are suffering to find jobs. Let's just acknowledge everyone who's here with us today and watching. Thank you for joining us on Something Nice, Dinano. We are hosting brother Yahunde Batakane, who's a Congo native. Yahunde, before you got on, I did say that you are somewhere in East Africa, but I will not disclose where you really are. But let's just acknowledge everyone. There's Dark Side in the chats. There's Biblia. There's Tabu also in the chats. Horatio, my Portuguese is bad, Yahunde. I hope you can help me with this one. Horatio Macamo is also there. RM is also there. RM is there. And then RM is just commenting a lot. Yahunde is speaking out in the behalf of Congolese people. Thank you, brother. RM is really happy with what you have to say. But now, Yahunde, currently, there's a report that I heard earlier this morning from one of the biggest news publishers on the continent, SABC News. They are reporting that M23 is seeking an audience with the DRC government. Maybe I could share this one so that everyone can see what we are talking about.
Right.
Share screen. I haven't used this thing in a while, so it could be an issue trying to do this, but I think we've got it here. Okay, let's share it. Okay. So there it is, right? M23, can you see it on your side, Yahunde?
No, I can't. It's not visible.
Okay.
But it's probably is, but I can't be able to see.
There it is.
There you go. It's coming. It's coming. Yeah.
So it says M23 wants to engage on peace talks with DRC government. Let's just read the article because this is what prompted this follow-up on our conversation that we had. It says the M23 rebel group has called on the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, to engage in a dialogue to address the crisis in the country. The group has been engaged in a fierce battle with the DRC army. In a statement, the M23 rebel has reached out to Kinshasa government to engage in a dialogue that would lead to a lasting peace in the DRC. The group has since captured several towns in the country. We know they were in Goma not too long ago in the Kivu region. The DRC government has, are they still there?
Yeah.
Okay. The DRC government has relied on Southern African Development Community, SADC, and MONUSCO peacekeepers to bring stability in the country. South Africa has lost 14 soldiers who were in peacekeeping mission in the DRC, and those soldiers had a repatriation ceremony that was happening here in South Africa on Friday. So developments there, there are still things happening, but now I want to read some headlines from other publications just to see what other publications are saying on the matter, because there's still a lot happening in the DRC, right? Let's see what other news publications are saying.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so much going on.
Okay. 6 hours ago, M23 rebels advanced into Eastern Congo strategic city of Bukavu in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. That was Reuters 6 hours ago. Congo Prime Minister demands withdrawal of Rwandan troops. This was a day ago, right? And there are other people who are also reporting M23 rebels advance into Eastern Congo strategic places. So there's still this conflict happening. Can we talk on matters of how this issue can be resolved? Because we have a tendency as Africans of wanting to blame this person, that person. And I know in such a situation, that is called for. But what we need, what we want is peace. How do we see peace coming about in this region? Here's someone who's talking against what you're saying. Hold that thought. Barama Mazimpaka. Can you read what they're saying? This guy is just talking because he had accepted the ideology of genocidaire. Is that a French word?
Yeah, it's people who committed a genocide.
Okay. Who ran to his country and given heaven and support to attack Rwanda again and killing as well as Rwandaphone in Congo. Here's another one from another person, Emmanuel Tambwe. Emmanuel says, if you are an honest person, you'll admit that in genocide, both the Hutus and the Tutsis all committed terrible crimes. Can you admit to that, Yahunde?
Yes. The second part, yes, I can admit that, and I'm agree with the brother say that if Rwanda is honest enough, they should be able to admit, because there's been tremendous work that has been exposing how really happened in 1994. It's both Hutus and Tutsis that killed each other, and it was the RPF that invaded Rwanda. So for me, I would expect the justice system that can bring both sides to the table, not just the Hutus who committed a crime. And I'm not supporting any crime, any criminals or any kind. To the question of the brother, say that I'm supporting what you call the genocidaire, which it's an expression that used for the FDLR, which are the Rwandan patriotic, the Rwandan government, the Rwandan military government that was before Kagame took power in 1994. That was before the genocide, right? So these are according to the history, the background history is that this FDLR went into Congo. And I'm glad that this brother brought this up, because it's very important. Because this is actually why everything is going away. That's the scapegoat that that Rwanda use every day. Now this genocidaire supposedly, and there is evidence actually that shows this, they did go to Congo, right? And it wasn't just the Hutus who participated in the genocide. Tutsis that participated in the genocide, some of them went into Congo too. These are all in Congo, right? He's saying that the genocide are threats to Rwanda, and I'm supporting that. Where can you show me any evidence of this genocide, these Hutus? Because I can tell you for a fact that the genocide are a threat. But they are not a threat to Rwanda. They are a threat to Congo, because they've invaded Congolese. They've killed many Congolese because they live in the bush of our country. They don't live in the hills of Rwanda. So they are threats. Primarily, they are threats to Congo, because they've destabilized our villages, our country. So to say that I'm supporting them is ridiculous. Is has no foundation. It's just an accusation. Now, to add to that, what I want to add to this conversation is that this genocidaire who killed the Hutu, the Tutsi, I mean, they participated. No, like I said, it was a two-side killing. This genocidaire who participated in the genocide of the Hutus. Yeah.
Please hold that thought.
I want to finish that thought before.
Okay, finish that thought.
Let me finish the chain of thought. This genocidaire that participated in the crime, the Rwandan genocide, some are in Congo. But what these people, the guy that shared this question, what he's trying to avoid, what he's trying to shy away from, is that the Rwandan genocide already happened. The Hutus are not they are not committing crimes in Rwanda right now. It's Kagame. It's Kagame that's committing crimes in Congo right now. So we shouldn't try to shift the conversation to what's really going on. It's Rwanda that's invaded Congo. Whether the genocide they are in Congo, or whether they are in Rwanda, whether they are whatever it is that he's gonna accuse anybody of, these crimes are happening in Congo, and it's Congolese people that are dying. So let's talk about that. That's the focus. that because we want to solve the problem of what's going on, and it's not happening in Rwanda right now. Rwanda doesn't have a problem, according to what my brother shared. It's Congo that's housing these genocidaires who are committing crimes in Congo. Now, Brother Dinano asked me a question: how do we solve this problem? Well, if these genocidaires are Rwandan, like the brother just said, they committed crimes in Rwanda and they fled into Congo. What does the Kagame administration, what system has the Kagame administration put in place to make peace treaties or peace arrangement with this genocidaires so they can go back to their country, stop committing crime in Congo, stop being a threat to Rwanda and Congo, but actually go back to their country and build their country together? That's the question that I have for the brother. But thank you.
Thank you, Yahunde. We have a question from someone who wants to join the conversation. On the chats on YouTube, you can just click on the pinned link. There's a link there. Sorry, on the pinned message on the chat, on the live chat, there's a link there. You click on that thing, you come to the studio, and then we will add you to the conversation and be able to share your thoughts. But we continue to read what you guys are saying on the live chat. We have Biblia, who's also commenting. I don't know if it's a he or she, but they have been here since the beginning of this live stream. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. Biblia says Kagame is evil, but to be honest, I have different feelings when it comes to Nanga. I feel like he's really trying to free Congo, and he's judged by his own people like Jesus. Then makes a biblical reference. Maybe you have something to say on that one. I'll allow you, but let's see
I want to say something quick. Yeah,
okay.
Go on.
Go on. Say what you need to say.
Just quickly. I agree with him, with the person when he said that Kagame is a threat to the region. That's true. Rwandans need as much they need as much freedom as any other people. Congolese need as much freedom as well, as much as any other people, and Kagame is a threat between the two. Now, to say that Nanga is compared to Jesus and the Nanga is the savior of Congolese people, you have to go back to the history of who Nanga is, right? The history of Nanga was a political man in the Congolese government. This guy is the guy that was in charge of the election that put Tshisekedi in power. Right, Nanga worked with Kabila. Kabila was also one of the most corrupted leaders in Congo. Kabila, after Nanga had mines that signed right that he signed with Kabila when Kabila was in power. You can fact check all this information. But Nanga, for some reason, when Tshisekedi came into power, Tshisekedi's system did not give Nanga and took away every properties every government property that was owned by a private entity, which is Nanga's mines. So Nanga lost his mines. This is the only reason why Nanga was recruited by the M23 in Nairobi and sent to Congo. Nanga is not there to fight for Congolese. No, he's not. Nanga is out there to fight Tshisekedi so that he can get his mines that were stolen from him. He doesn't care about anybody. He's not a hero. Because of Nanga's invasion, and I want you to keep this in mind, the guy that asked the question. Because of Nanga's invasion, there's over 3,000 people, innocent people that have been killed in the city of Goma. There's so many rape cases, women and children being raped every single day. You cannot tell me that this guy is Jesus. you gotta look back, take a step back, and actually look at what these criminals are actually doing. It's nothing Jesus would do. Thank you.
Okay, let's look at other comments. Emmanuel K. Tambwe. Oh, by the way, Biblia bears Tabu is a she. It's Joanna. I'm a woman. Joanna.
Oh, thank you, Biblia.
Thank you, Joanna. Yeah. Okay, so here's another one from. Did we read this one? Okay, let's go up a bit because there were some comments before this one. Emmanuel was next. Emmanuel says, if you are an honest person, you will admit that in genocide, both the Hutus
I think we already read that. Yeah.
all committed terrible crimes.
Yes.
Okay.
I think we already spoken about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So here's the next one now. Emmanuel again, he says, right, the Ugandan armies are threatening to invade Congo, and can anyone explain why in the midst of all that's going on already? Do you want to touch on that one? Do you know what's happening?
well, you have to look at, there's a comments you say before where the Ugandan government is also a threat. And you have to go back, if you want to understand all this stuff, you have to go back to the history of the region, to how Museveni got into power and how Kagame got into power. These two parties, they did not get into power through legal election. They had coup d'etats. You know, they in Uganda, Museveni had a coup so that he could get into power. In Rwanda, Kagame too did the same thing by after the assassination of the president that was there before. That's how they were able to get into power. Now, Museveni's regime is just as Kagame. Kagame is literally Kagame's son, Kagame's family are in charge of Rwanda. The same way in Uganda, Museveni's family is in charge of Uganda. Museveni's son is in charge of the whole military operation in Uganda. And he say some of the worst things about everybody. And it's almost like it's a comedy show happening. But what's important to note is that every time Kagame invaded Congo, Museveni is there with him. Because these are brother. You have to go back to the history, like I say again, how these people came into power. They were trained, right, together. For Kagame to take over Rwanda in the RPF in 1994, they were trained in Uganda. It was the Museveni's administration that trained Kagame and his mate to actually invade Rwanda. So we can really say that Kagame, we can separate the two. So it makes sense why Museveni want to invade Congo. And there's a UN report. Literally, Uganda had to pay compensation, had to pay reparations to the crimes that they committed in Congo. So it's not the first time that Uganda has invaded Congo ever. And all these parties, the question is, why do they invade Congo? And why particularly this eastern part of Congo? Because of the resources in the land. This region is one of the most mineral-rich region in the continent, in the world, right? With coltan, diamond, tin, copper, all these minerals are need for our electrical advancement, for our technological advancement. And this country, these guys, they are the fast exporters of these resources when their countries don't have the resources. At least not to the maximum, to the amount of what they are able to sell annually. So that's all I wanted to say to that comment. Thank you.
Here is another one, Yahunde. It's from Barama Mazimpaka. Guys, I encourage you to click on the pinned link so that you can actually come here and talk to us. Besides having your time to type something, but if you click on the pinned link, you will come into the studio and you'll be able to argue or agree with what Yahunde has to say. Barama Mazimpaka says, brother, don't distort. They are nothing but double genocide. How can you say Tutsi attack Rwanda? From where and why, I can tell you, inform better before you can't tell the world. Okay, it's just saying get your facts straight before you come on public platforms. Nanga is no different from Labil. So I guess this one from Emmanuel agrees with you. Here's another one from Harashio Makamo, who's in Mozambique. In Mozambique, just this last December, Kagame sent troops to defend Frelimo, which is a fraudulent electoral power by force. Many Protestants, population died. Yeah, we know what was happening there in Mozambique recently.
We know.
Bad. Yeah. As a Congolese, here's RM saying, as a Congolese, I am telling them, as long as there will be at least one Congolese, they will never succeed. So he's saying the people of the Congo will defend their country. Harikyo says, while Kagame is still in power, hinterland region will not be in peace. Darkside says, this kid is lost. I think they are referring to you now, Yahunde. I'm an old man. I can't be a kid. He even thinks he's chosen by God over other Africans. Okay, that one is directed to you, brother. But earlier on, I was listening to someone who's also in the eastern region of Africa. They were saying that for peace to come through in that region, Africans need to come together. Without the involvement of Europeans or Western powers, the people of Africa or the leaders of Africa, whether we have leaders or not, that's a conversation for another day. But I have a reservation about political leadership. in all of Africa, by the way. But this person was saying, if we want lasting peace, then people should sit down. Leaders of Africa should sit down without the influence of the West, without the influence of other forces. We come together as African people and see what is best for us, what is best for our people. But it seems like it's difficult for leaders to do that because from where I'm sitting, it looks like their interests come first, and maybe the interests of whoever is backing them. And then if there's space for other interests, then the interest of the people who are affected by whatever conflict might be happening. So I think it is time for us to maybe relook how we choose leaders or who represents us, so that when we have problems, we have people who can really be accountable to us on what is happening in our country.
I agree. I can add to what you just shared, and it's very, very powerful. I think the people, the power of the people, that's what I believe. I believe the people have the power every day, even though we've been we are oppressed and lied to, right? That we have to serve the systems, and we have to allow them to do things. Sometimes even we have to perpetrate the narrative, the misconceptions that they've held to maintain power. But for you, and I agree with you when you say which leaders, right? Because the problem of Congo. We've had leaders. Congo. Frank Fanon say that Africa is in the shape of a gun, and Congo is the trigger. So that backs what you just said in terms of it's important that Africans come together. But Africans have come together in the past many times. There've been a lot of peace treaties. There've been a lot of peace agreements. You know, in Harare, in Lusaka, in Nairobi, in Addis Ababa, in Sun City, like so many of them to be able to restore peace. But among all of these peace treaties, among all of these peace agreements or these talks, there's never been any space where the people are at the center of the matter. Every time that these peace talks happen, it's the rebel groups and the government. And these rebel groups sign peace treaties where they are allowed into the military and into the government. They are given government seats, and they're almost like they are compensated for the crimes they've committed. The people, the women and that are being raped, the children that are left without parents, the men that are being lynched in the street. There's never, among all these peace treaties, there's never a justice system. And I'm telling you, there've been almost more than 10 peace treaties since the last 30 years. None of these peace treaties have set together a justice system where the criminals get to be persecuted. Because why? It's a criminal system. Everybody, whether many of the African leaders who are taking part in this, they also have their own interests. Like you say, they also have the people backing them as interests. And so they don't care. At the end of the day, the people get to suffer. And so it would take a revolution of the people to bring back peace. It would take the people coming together. Whether I'm talking about whether it's in Rwanda, the Hutu and Tutsi coming together to work together, like Mihigo was singing in his gospel songs, to actually get rid of the Kagame's regime. The Museveni, these people have been, Kagame and Museveni, they've been in power for over 30 years. These people are, and then their military governments are actually represented by their own sons. That's how it's a dynasty. It's not even government systems. And so we need the young people in Congo, in every country on the continent. We are the voice. We are the future. And it's time that we start we start making our voice to be heard by our leaders, by the people around us. That's the only way that Africa will have peace. But to sit here and say that somehow we just have to ignore the crimes that are happening in Congo because it's the white man involved, because we don't want to make Kagame look bad. Those things are actually the problem. Those people silencing, those people in the back, biting. They're the reason why these powers have maintained, these systems have been maintained so much power that they can kill with impunity.
I want to just share some of the people that have been affected directly by the conflict. Yes. Obviously, I am South African, so I'm most informed about what's happening in South Africa concerning the conflict in the DRC. Yeah. South Africa lost about 14 soldiers. Mm-hmm. in total so far
Rest
in a
in peace.
peacekeeping mission, right? Let me just read out some of the names. I see the names have not all been written here, but some of the guys' names: Rifleman Calvin Mowachi. And most of these guys are young, Yahunde. I think the oldest one might have been born in the 70s, but some of them are born in the 90s, some in the late 80s, which is really heartbreaking.
Wow.
There's also Rifleman Batakane Chukwe, Corporal Matome Malesa, Lance Corporal Tseke Molapo, Lance Corporal Metse Swiswi, Rifleman Derek Maluleke, Staff Sergeant William Kola Okola, Staff Sergeant Shwahlane Siepe, Corporal Renaye Mabulani, and Rifleman Sidiso Mabele. That's just 10 names, but there's more, 4 more that are not mentioned there. So a lot of people have died from this conflict, and those are just some South African soldiers who were on a peacekeeping mission. I don't know, maybe you know what's been happening with people from your country. If your country is part of the SADC, if they've been reporting on some soldiers from your country that have died, let us know how this thing is directly affecting you.
Yeah.
Let's take more comments from people watching. Here's another one from Emmanuel. Emmanuel says,
before you go on, I just want to, before you go on, I just wanted to say I send my heart out to the families of the people that have, the South African troops. I mean, brothers that have lost and sisters that have lost their life in Congo. I want them to know that this was not in vain. That the people in Congo need every support they can get, and the women and children that are stuck with nothing, with no hope. The gas system has been dismantled, so. These people who are the South African who have lost their life on the battlefield, it has not been in vain, and I hope that their soul rests in peace, and that their hard work, their struggle for bringing peace into Congo, be answered in the future.
People are sharing their views on the live chats, but we would really appreciate it if you can join us in the studio. You don't have to show your face. You can switch off your camera. We can hear your voice. You just argue with whatever is being presented by Yahunde, or you agree with it. But we also want to hear your comments on the live chat. Here's a comment from Darkside, a person who goes by the name of Darkside. He says, Ramaphosa is responsible for their deaths, the deaths of those soldiers. Thank you so much, dear South African soldiers. That's RM thanking them. But we also need to talk about leadership in Africa. As you are engaging us on the live comments, on the live chat, what is your take on African leadership? What do we need to do as the people of Africa to have leaders that will serve the people? Not leaders who think about themselves first and then they are funders, and then maybe if they have more room to think about something else, then they think about the people. What can we do as the people of Africa? Here's a comment from RM. Congolese people will never forget your sacrifice. I think this is a message acknowledging the efforts and the work done by the peacekeepers from South Africa and other countries of the SADC region, right? So we can't only mention people from South Africa. We are also encouraging you to join the conversation. Call us, click the link, you'll come into the studio. You can turn off your camera, just have your microphone on. Tell us what you think about what's happening in the DRC. Also, join us in trying to find working solutions for our continent. What do we do with this issue of leadership? Yahunde is struggling there with his connection, but he's in the background. I'm adding him again. But we want to hear your view as a person watching. Could be a young person, could be an old person. We want to hear your wisdom on this. We are all people of this continent. We all appreciate being people of a continent which is said to be the richest when it comes to resources. But when it comes to economics, when it comes to GDP, when it comes to finance for infrastructure, when it comes to finance for peacekeeping, when it comes to having money for development and technological advances, we are not nowhere to be seen. You talk about blockchain technology, you talk about AI, you talk about advancements in other spheres, military, if there's something to be proud of, talk about advancements in education, we are nowhere to be seen. What do we do as the people of the continent to take our continent forward? Do we need a change in leadership? Do we need a change in government systems? Do we need a change in electoral systems? Do we need a change in our education systems? I don't know. I think the solutions are with us as the people of this continent. Let's read more comments. This one is in French. Can you read this one, Yahunde?
Merci à l'Afrique du Sud, vous êtes un vrai phase sur les continents. It means thank you to South Africa. You are a true service to the continent of Africa.
Okay. Here's another one from Monica Ditlare. Monica says, I think this situation needs people to come together, as the Bible says in 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 13, and see if there won't be changes. I know our beliefs are not the same, but just try. I want to look up this scripture. 2 Chronicles chapter, just say it for me, Yahunde, 2 Chronicles.
Chapter 7, verse 13.
Verse 13. I want us to read it out to see what the sister is saying there. 2 Chronicles. In the Bible, 2 Chronicles 17:13 says, when I shut up the heavens so that there is no rain, or command the locust to devour the land, or send pestilence among my people. Let me read the whole scripture, because that
are you reading chapter 7, verse 13?
Yeah, 7:13 to 14. Okay. Let me share it here. Sister Monica is sharing a scripture with us. I want to share it so that we can all see it, so that we can all read it and not say, hey, this guy is telling us something that is not there. Okay, so here's the scripture. It says, when I shut up the heavens so that there is no rain, or command locusts to devour the land, or send a plague among my people. If my people who are called, okay, I know this part.
Yes,
if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and I will heal their land. Is it that simple, Sister Monica?
I believe to a degree, yeah. I mean, I believe that people, that if people can humble themselves and like what I'm talking about, you know, all this fight over which leader is better, you know, over which man is better, over we are putting our effort where we are putting our effort and our focus to the wrong things. We are not supposed, any curse is a man that trusts in man, right? We're supposed to believe, we're supposed to be grown, I mean, to be mature enough to listen to each other. We're supposed to be mature enough to hear each other when things are going bad. If a brother comes to you and say, and you see them, my brother, like I saw a video of a young man, an artist, activist who was literally assassinated in the streets in Goma, right? Me looking at that, whether I care about, whether I'm a Kagame, you know, fanatist, whether I'm anybody, my heart is supposed to humble, to melt. I'm supposed to feel something. If I don't feel anything, something is wrong with me. If I can watch somebody being a young man in his studies being gunned down in the middle of the street with everybody watching for committing no crime, and I can still have no place in my heart to sympathize with this person, to side with the people, the voice of the people, something is wrong with me. And I think that's what I'm getting from the verse. If my people can humble themselves and hear the voice of the Most High, what is the voice of the Most High? Is the voice in our heart, the voice of reason, the voice of logic. Despite what they're giving us, despite what the media is selling, what is logic? What is the voice of reason? Watching somebody being killed, gunned down, what is the voice of reason telling you right in that instant? Is it telling you to still stand with Kagame? Even though his regime is not has done more death than good. I mean, I could care less if our leader build mountains, or, you know, builds pyramids. If this leader does not respect his people, if this leader does not put his people first, this leader is no good.
Let's continue with the comments.
And I think that's what Africa needs. That's the kind of leadership that Africa needs.
We also want to hear your views as a person who's watching. Join the conversation on the live chat. We'll beam and we'll publish your comments right here. If you want to share your voice, if you want to comment, challenge, or give us your view on the topic of leadership in Africa, come through, we'll put you through, and you'll share with us what your thoughts are. This one is also in French. Let me try, but my French is, I don't know any French, but it says,
Okay.
la liberté est le suele chemin. Okay, that's bad. What is that saying, Yahunde?
Vive la RDC. Vive la RDC, la liberté est le seul chemin. It means, Ingeta. In Congo, we say Ingeta, which means Viva, right? Viva the DRC. The liberty of freedom is the only way. And then the person say, stay strong, the world is with you.
Okay, here's another one.
Thank you.
From RM. I would like to join, but my English is not that good. That's fine. I think Yahunde is proficient in a couple of languages. So RM, come through. We are Africans here. English is not our language. It's just that it's the one that were colonized by here on the southern part in this country that is currently known as South Africa. One day I'll share my issues about the country that I was born in and that I live in. That is currently known as South Africa. I have issues with that name of South Africa.
So if you speak French, Swahili, English, or even Lingala, please come on. I'll be able to try to translate or to work with you from where you are.
Thank you very much, Brother Yahunde. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So there you go. Who's the brother that said his English is not good enough? We don't care about English. We just want to hear your thoughts. RM, come through. We are waiting for you. Okay. I don't know what that one is saying. This one, Jesus is our Lord, will console us. Amen. This one is from M again. Yes, Patrick Mbeko said they are ruthless killing machines. What is in their heads? They are lunatic genociders. Another comment from Emmanuel. Thank you for being with us, Emmanuel. We see your activity on the chats. We really appreciate your time, as well as everyone else who's been here. Monica, we see you. Horatio, we see you. Thank you for joining us. Congo is the heart of Alkebulan. We all must be aware that what hits the heart destroys the whole body. There's a lot packed in that.
Yes.
Maybe we can touch on this one. Let's just read the other two and then we'll go back to this one by Emmanuel. Here's another one from Horatio. He says, okay, the Burkina Faso President Traore, he's the best example for change. He united all the countries surrounding him. Yeah, we know what's happening in ECOWAS with Mali, Burkina Faso. I can't remember the other countries now. But I remember Mali and Burkina Faso, Niger. Yeah, there's a lot happening
Niger,
there. Yeah. So he united all the countries surrounding him, and all are benefiting for the common interests and growing together. They kind of remind me what Traore is doing there is reminiscent of what Thomas Sankara was trying to do in that country. Godspeed to him, all the blessings, and I hope he keeps it about the people, not him or his interests. Here's another comment from Monica. Monica, I'm still waiting for you to come through because you are asking how do you join the conversation. You haven't joined. There's a pinned link on the live chat. If you click on that, it will bring you backstage. And when you get here backstage, we'll be able to put you through. If you're shy about showing your face, you can just disable your camera. We'll be able to hear what you say. It will be like a radio show where you can share your thoughts live. Yahunde has just gone off. He's struggling with his connection. He's back. Let me add him as he comes through. But Monica, this morning we were told that there is a petition to sign for Captain President Ibrahim Traore. Can you please help us to find that petition? Okay, we'll have a look at that one if we don't forget. I promise we'll have a look at that one, Monica. Here's another one from Emmanuel. As far as leadership is concerned in Africa, the systems used to educate most Africans is the imperialist system of divide to rule. Whoa. Emmanuel is dropping a lot of bombs here, man. Emmanuel, join us in the conversation. Come through. We want to hear some of your thoughts. And here's another one from M. I don't know what that means, Yahunde. You'll have to help with the French here. Okay, Yahunde has just gone off. Here's one from Paul. Yaman ayeye heitada, my favorite peoples. I don't even know what that means. Do you know that language, Yahunde? Yaman ayeye heitada.
No.
Oh, okay. No, I get it. Yaman ayeye heitada. How can I not get it in South Africa? I think it's how you spelled it, Paul.
I don't know.
Yeah, man, which means yes, man. Yeah. Okay,
yeah, man. Yeah.
That's an expression like it's getting hot in here. Yeah. Hey tada. Hey tada is a greeting in Afrikaans or in Tsotsitaal. Eta da is hey there. My favorite people. Thank you for joining us, Paul.
Okay.
I appreciate your presence. Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
And then Emmanuel is also Emmanuel. I'll stop reading your comments if you don't come into the studio and talk to us. Tired of you texting now. I want to hear your voice. I want you to share with us what your thoughts are. The truth must be said, as long as the Tutsi brothers think and believe that they are different from other Africans, there will always be a thorn in the flesh of all of Africa. I agree with that. We need to find a common background as Africans. What many tribes, we are many languages, we are different shades of black, brown, light brown, but we are the same people. We need to find common ground. And literally, common ground is the continent that we are on. We are same people of the same soil. Let's stop dividing ourselves. Yahunde. No issues with the Tutsis, no issues with the Hutus, no issues with the Lingala or Congo or Yahunde. We are all Africans. Let's unite.
But to the and I agree with that. I support that. But the unity that will come, the true unity that our people need, is not the one that covered up crimes. It's not the one that justify criminals, perpetrators killing people. I think it's a unity where justice that comes with justice. A justice system where the criminals, because all these people that are perpetrating crimes, killing, terrorizing people, these people need to be justified to be sentenced into prison so that they can stay out of the streets and committing all these crimes. Anybody that think that they can take guns to go and kill people because they feel some type of way about a government or about anybody, that's a joke. Come on, man. That's the justice system that we need, the unity that we need from all sides is for people to work together. For a justice system that brings unity. Thank you. Yeah.
Here's a comment directed to you. Yahunde, what do you think of Bemba? Is it Jean-Pierre Bemba? I don't know. Who can save DRC? Where are the patriots? That one is directed to you, Yahunde.
So that's a good question. I think that what do I think of Bemba? The history of Bemba already tells us who Bemba is. Bemba was a warlord before he got into power. Through the RCD movement, in the Sun City agreement that allowed all the criminals and warlords to get into power. So Bemba was one of those people. I don't know what his motive was. Like I said again, anybody that think they can take guns, to get justice, these people are not the good people. Anybody that does that. So Bemba, I can't say that I know who Bemba is to the fullest, but this is the history that I know of Bemba. Now he's in the government, tried to amend his according to what he said, he tried to amend his complicity in a problem. But the question that you ask, who can save Congo? I think who can save Congo is you and I. I think the problem is we are looking at these leaders, we are looking at these puppets. There's the reason why the West is able to divide and conquer is because there's so very many few people that they select, elite type of people where they select these people, particular people to actually oppress the vast majority. But if the vast majority can stop looking for a savior and be the savior, be the change that you want to be. If you want to see a change Congo, be the change. Speak about it. Talk to somebody. Or hold your government accountable. help somebody. There are so many people out there that need help. Children in Goma right now, many of them can't even have food. We can talk about saving, or saving. For me, the level of saving that Congo needs is the fundamental Congolese and the people of African family to come together to support in whatever capacity. And I'm talking about the media, because the media is the most powerful tool that has been used to actually continue to celebrate the criminals while allowing injustice continue to happen. So that's all I can say to that. The way we can save Congo is we come together and we speak with one voice against the system, against our government. If your government is involved, please don't turn a blind eye. Even if you love the leader, don't turn a blind eye. Because people's lives are at stake, and they need you. They need you in this moment. They need your voice in this moment. They need your support in this moment. Don't wait for another savior. They're not going to be one. We are the saviors. We are responsible. Our silence is complicit. Our outspokenness is the voice of change. Thank you.
Okay. Monica says she's trying to join, but it's not allowing her. I've just sent another message, Monica, on the live chat. Try that link that has just been sent by Something Nice with Tinano and see if that one works. Should be able to come through in the background here, and we'll allow you in, and you can share your thoughts with us. Paul says, I agree with Monica. Biblia, it's a she. They did say, and they even told us the name. I've just forgotten now. Years ago, Traore was painted by the media as DRC government, as a lion or as the devil, right? Traore was painted by the media as a devil. DRC government is corrupted. Time will show if that was going on. Oh, time will show what is going on in Kivu, as evil as media presents to us. That's what Biblia is saying. I'm trying, but it does not take me. Monica is trying to join us here, but it's not allowing her. Look for this link or this comment in the live chat, Monica. And if you find it, you can click on this part here. You can click on this streamyard.com 3DS4SJKXBP, and you'll be able to come in. We'll allow you in, and you'll be able to share your thoughts. Oh, there's Kaba. Here's someone in. Okay,
can I please on the one before this one?
Kaba, we see you. We see you in the studio. Hold on, Yahunde. Kaba, we see you in the studio. Okay. We'll allow you in just now. Let's just allow Yahunde to finish his thought. Finish your thought, Yahunde.
Okay. For me, when somebody say Congo is corrupt, I 100% agree with you. But now we have to ask ourselves, how is Congo corrupt? How did it get corrupted? We have to look at the history of Congo. How many Congolese leaders, good leaders, have been assassinated to keep Congo corrupted? Is this an inside job, or is this an outside job? Why every time they have these peace treaties, right, rebel groups are allowed into the government? Some of them are given, imagine a rebel group, somebody who has terrorized people, killed people, is allowed through these peace treaties that have been imposed on Congo by other multinational corporations and government to sign peace treaties that allow terrorists into the government. And then these terrorists become the problem, because when you have a vice president that was a former terrorist, when you have a military person that was a former terrorist, how are these treaties saving the people? What you have in the government is a terrorist that will terrorize the people, whether he is in the government or whether he's a rebel. These people are the reason why Congo is corrupted, because there are so many people that are involved in the Congolese government, in the Congolese army, and the Congolese government who are playing both sides. These are the people who came into power, that were given power through the same way of life, and that's how we are. That's why Congo is corrupted.
Thank you for joining us, Brother Kaba. Let's hear your take on our conversation today.
Yeah, as Yahunde just said, I think the Congo problem is that a lot of Congolese have in part or no understanding of the whole situation as it's happening. The reality is, if you look at Congo at this particular moment, you have to go back. You'll have to go back to look at where did all this started, from the independence time all the way to now. As he just mentioned now, that a lot of Congolese are actually problem to their own country, in the fact that they side with outside influences simply because of they want to gain something in. So therefore they sell the country. You understand? So they sell the country, and that is what is happening with a lot of politicians, even now. Even now, as you said, a lot of people are criminals in the government. A lot of them are criminals. They have to be held to accountability. But unfortunately, up to this time, I don't know what's going to happen. They haven't been.
What should happen, Emmanuel? Is this Emmanuel on the comments?
Yes, that's right.
Thank you for joining us. Where are you from, Emmanuel? Where are you right now? Which country?
I am in South Africa. I am in South Africa, somewhere in South Africa.
Where are you from?
I am from Congo, but I've been living in South Africa for as long as I know. And I've been following the situation. I know the history of my country. And so I'm quite acquainted with whatever's going on. Which
region of Congo? Maybe Yahunde can engage you on this one, because he's also from
I am in a region of Kasai Central, and but I grew up in Goma in Bukavu, which is right now in the end of M23. So, and I left Bukavu in 1984 to go to Lubumbashi, and then from there, and it's a long story.
So you are an elder.
Yes, I am quite of age.
Okay. We could call you Baba Emmanuel, or Big Brother Emmanuel. Thank you very much for joining us. But now the conversation is, we see that there's an issue with leadership in Africa. Central Africa, East Africa, Southern Africa, that's where we are. What do we do when we see that our leaders are corrupt? The political system is not really serving the people.
Right.
As an elder, Emmanuel, what should happen? Or should the solutions come from us as younger people?
I think it is time. It is time the younger people stand up, because the reality is these people do not vote themselves into powers. I mean, we saw what happened in Kinshasa the other day. It's the young people that stood up and in protest. So that is exactly what needs to happen, not only for the outside forces, but also for the within forces, which are these politicians, which are the puppets of the West. Because we know that beyond any shadow of doubt, we know that these people are working for the West. You understand? I mean, Congo is such a rich country that could actually propel Africa to development of high quality. But that's not being allowed by who? By the ones inside and the ones outside. So we as a people have to stand up. It's about time us people to stand up and claim their right, because I vote for you and you don't actually fulfill your promises. What am I supposed to do with you? And that is what the people have to ask themselves.
Yes.
Yahunde, do you want to respond?
Thank you so much. It's great. Yeah, what brother said, Emmanuel said, I think I agree to maximum. The truth, the change that will happen is that we have to take the power in our hands. And remember, we are the one holding the power. We're the one that's voting these people into the government, and we're the one that can vote them out. And even though they try to make it look like they have power, but we are the one with the power. And so what my request to the people is that we start holding these leaders accountable. Don't support a leader because they're from your tribe. Don't support a leader because they make you smile, because they dress nice. That stuff will not change the system. What we need is leaders that are out there that we see day to day. We see young people day to day in our streets, young men who are fighting for us. Those are the people we need to have to be in the government. Those are the people we need in the parliament. We have young people, we have young people who are in journalism. We need these young people who are in journalism to start talking about the truth, to start asking questions. Right, and I've seen a lot of African media where our journalists, they don't have questions. You standing in front of Kagame, right? And the only question that you don't, there's all the question you can have. You're standing in front of a president of a country, whether that's Kagame, whether that's Tshisekedi, whether that's Ramaphosa. You position of power, right? We have to start holding these people accountable in whatever, asking them the right questions so that we can get the answers for our people, so that we can actually dismantle their fakeness, so that the people, because remember, the media is the main tool that is being used to manipulate the masses to vote these puppets into power. And so we have to be able to function. We have to be able to reason beyond the manipulation. We have to, and a journalist will be able to help us in that. And even ourselves as the people, if you don't have a background history of somebody, if you don't know them before, please don't vote for them. Even if somebody pays you, please don't support a puppet leader that has been in power. Whether this puppet has given you money, this leader has given you money, whether he has given your family money personally, if what they're doing is detrimental to the vast majority, please don't stand with this puppet leader. Stand for what's right. And I think that as young people, that's what we can do. And that's how we can be able to hold these leaders accountable. And that's how we can be able to change the narrative of the country. And I'm saying this because having lived in the West, you realize that people in the West, if you drive into a tree, right? If you drive into somebody's car and try to drive off, people will literally record you. The neighbors will record you. You can't hide. If you drive into a building at night and try to escape, the neighbors will make sure they take their phones and record you and send to the police. We have to start holding each other accountable, regardless of somebody's status. That's all I can say. Yeah. But thank you, Brother Emmanuel, for that conversation, for that contribution.
Any last words, Brother Emmanuel, before you go?
I think the problem with not only Congo, but it's also Africa, is that our mentality has a problem. I think, I don't know whether it's inherited or it's passed on. But I think, with Africa is that when you look at something happen at your neighbor's house, and for some reason you think you're not connected to it, it doesn't affect you whatsoever until it's too late. Instead of intervening, at times we only decide, okay, because it's happening there, so it's nothing to do with me. And that is not mentality of African. This is not what we know in Africa, because in Africa, when a child was raised, we know that this child is for the community. So anyone, if somebody sees a child being misbehaving, anyone can correct that child. I think Yahunde mentioned this in some of the episode in the past, that a child that's born in Africa was a child of the community. Therefore, the problem that we have today, yes, in a family there will always be disagreement or agreement, but in the end of the day, what affects one will affect the other, whether you like it or not. And this is the reality that Africans need to understand. What's happening in Congo is, I said, Congo is the heart of Africa. If not stopped now, we will all suffer the consequences in one way or the other. And that's the reality. And that's what our leaders need to see. Whenever they meet, wherever they go, they need to understand this. They need to come out of that puppet mentality of the West. The West does not have any interest in Africa. The only interest they have in Africa is to continue to loot of minerals and whatever they need from us. Look, we have been colonized for how long? And what did they leave for us that we can compare to Europe or to America? Absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Right.
So it is time we wake up from our slumber and our sleep before it's too late, because their mentality is to keep us where we are as long as possible. But are we willing to stay where we are, even though we recognize that where we are is not the place we're supposed to be?
You know what keeps me awake at night? It's the fact that I see I don't want to say I don't see hope. There's always hope. But my fear is that my children will go through the same struggles that I, as an African, went through, whether it's in South Africa, whether it's in the rest of the continent. as Brother Emmanuel is saying there, the corruption is in the whole continent. The corruption is here in South Africa. There are people behind the scenes that are influencing whoever is in leadership. And to get back to what you were saying, Brother Yahunde, on people and journalists that just go there and ask stupid questions or questions that don't make sense and questions that won't hold these leaders accountable, is really disappointing. And we've, as news people now, as news publishers, we've become more like PR people. I'm a journalist myself, but sometimes I cringe when I see these live streams where government people are talking there. And it looks like we are just a PR machine for government entities. We don't hold them accountable. And these people are supposed to be our servants. They are supposed to be serving us.
Right.
We are the ones that put them in power, right? With our votes. But now it looks like when they get into power, we are the ones serving them. And they are the ones, there's a term that is used here. Brother Emmanuel will know, gravy train. I don't know if it's used in the rest of the continent, but here in South Africa, we talk of the gravy train. They get there, they enjoy the gravy train, and we are supposed to be serving them. But it's time that journalists and people in general, people on the ground, start to hold politicians accountable. Thank you.
But Ginano, I wanted to add to that point. I think there's a point that you mentioned before as well to add to what you're saying. You said what we need to change. Is this the government system? Is it the education system? And I will say, I will highlight, I will emphasize strongly on the need for change in education system. And Brother Emmanuel shared a point where he was asking, why are people like this? And why are Africans like this? Because traditionally we are very communal people. We are very community-centered people where we work together, we hold each other accountable. I mean, in Africa, people, if you're dressing inappropriately, people will tell you, right? So I want us to hold each other accountable in everything, to hold our leaders accountable. Now, why are we not able to do this? Why are we not able to hold everybody accountable, especially even the Western powers? Why are we silent about the crimes that everybody's committing? Now, one of the factors that you realize that's here, that there's a level of unconsciousness among our people, and this is based on the education system. And this education system, the education system that we have currently is the same education system that was imposed on our ancestors through colonization. This education system was to prepare a passive Negro, forgive my French, a passive, submissive man, that can submit to the government. And the reason why our leaders have held on to these systems, this education system, is because they are perpetuating the same narrative. They want the people to remain weak, to remain docile, to remain at their mercy, so that they can continue to perpetrate the crime, to live a happy life, like one of somebody commented. They're driving luxurious cars, living in mansions while the people are suffering. Now, if we can change the education system, because the current education system trains the black person to love the white man, to love Europe, to love the West, right? To see everything. That's why in the mind of every black person right now, if they can be given an opportunity to touch dollar, to hold dollars in their hand, if they can be given an opportunity to go to America, to go to Europe, they will give up anything. And this is rooted in the education system that we've been provided, that teaches us about everybody else, how Europeans are doing great, how America is a great civilization, and how everybody, the reason why we are where we are is because a white man came and saved the day. All this narrative that we still taught in school, that some guy came and discovered Lake Victoria and what's not, all this stuff that we've been, this narrative that have been perpetuated in our lives, in our education system, have conditioned the black child to see Africa as not where a black child is 2 foot on the African continent, but his eyes, his dreams, his vision are outside of his home. And so we are not able to see the problem in our neighborhoods. The education system doesn't educate us enough to solve the issues in our neighborhood, to know how to mine extract coltan, to know how to mine it, to know how to, what Brother Dinano was saying, all this advanced technology happening. The other countries like China and India and the rest, they are training their children how to solve the problem of their countries, or at least to use the facilities or the advantages of their countries to advance their nation. Our countries, we are the most mineral rich countries in the world. Africa has all the resources you need. Africa has the soil. Africa has the water, the rain, you name it. The landscape, the arable land. But the reason why we are not able to maximize on these things is because the education system prepare us. It doesn't teach us how to solve our problem. It prepares us to serve the imperialist interest, which is the colonizer system that was perpetrating to the education that trained the slaves to serve the white masters. But we are no longer in slavery. So it's about us. It's about us calling out our school system that still forcing our young daughters to cut hair in school, right? That's colonization still happening in our lives. To start calling out parents who thinks that naming their children, giving their children European names actually give them an advantage. These are the factors. These are small little factors that makes up, that create a future that's designed, a future that's designed. These children are already programmed from a very early age that they are nothing, that they have to have a European name, that their hair is dirty, they have to cut it, that a white man came and discovered them, and that they have nothing for them. So they have to rely solely on what the white man has to say about them. And the white man, of course, not everybody, but the white system, the white supremacy system is designed to perpetuate the lies, the colonial lie, so that we can remain where we are and they can stay where they are, which is above, and we can stay below. That's what I can say.
Thank you, Yahunde. Brother Emmanuel, yes?
Yes, I just wanted to say, I think Africans need to wake up in a way that there is a spirit, I would say, that was inherited with slavery, which has done in a way that there's a cycle of things, as you were saying. You are afraid that your children will go through the same cycle, but a cycle can be broken. A cycle must be broken if people want to be set free. We have today young people like Traore on the other side that has awakened a lot of people's minds, even those our leaders that we have chosen that are doing nothing for us. Therefore, they need to wake up, because the Europeans' hand is still on Africa. Until we take this hand out of Africa, we will never get free. Unless we have to stand firm and say, yes, we know for sure that most of the European and the US cooperative are the ones instigating all that is going on in Africa today, especially in the Congo. We know how many. Who can explain? I just wanted to say the other time, who can explain how Rwanda can go and sign a mineral
contract
with the European European Union
contract,
while we know that Rwanda has absolutely no mine whatsoever? Where do they resource their minerals to get in such a contract of such a magnitude? So that tells you already that Africa is still under this spirit of slavery and enslavement. They want to put themselves under this spirit. Unless we stand against this, we will never get free.
I was listening to Prof. Lumumba on my way here to the studio, and he was saying, for Africa to advance in this matter, we need to exclude external forces. We can't have the European Union involved. We can't have America. We can't have Macron from France involved. It must be deliberations and peace talks and ways of seeking a way forward amongst us Africans and our leaders.
Absolutely. What I can add to that, Brother Dinano, is that the point that you made is very powerful. You say we have to keep the European outside, but on top of that, I mean, Ibrahim Traore is an amazing leader.
Example.
A lot for his people. But I don't think one point that I want to point out though about him as well and the rest of the leaders is that even a lot of younger people who are telling us, oh, let us, for Congo to be liberated, let us go to Russia. Russia will save us. That's the problem. Or because Russia has been a good ally. The problem with this, because Traore is good and is doing for his people, but I hope that he's not relying solely on Russia to continue doing, because a lot of problems that we have is relying on these foreign powers to help us, and then we forget ourselves in the long, because Traore works with Russians, and that's okay if they can help him sort his country out, but we have to put our people's interests first, first and foremost. Even if we're going to work with the European countries, we have to be able to, we have to look them in the eye and hold them accountable for the crimes they committed, for the looting that they committed. They have to pay reparation for every crime that they've perpetrated on the African continent: slavery, colonization, and neo-colonialism. But obviously, we know they will never pay for that because again, it's survival of the fittest. What we need to do, like brother Dinano said, is work together. But even you say, Lumumba, PLO Lumumba said that we have to work together and keep these white people out. I will add, because this is one thing that I disagree with PLO Lumumba, because every time we hold Kagame accountable, PLO Lumumba try to shy away from what Kagame is doing in Congo.
He defends Kagame.
I will say that. I will say
Kagame. I've heard that.
And that's that. From that day, the name Lumumba, I don't think is worthy of the name. From just him defending a perpetrator, I wouldn't call him Lumumba anymore. I just call him PLO. That's that, and that respectfully. And I'm saying this why? Because you have to look at the so if we can keep all these Europeans out. The problem is, how do we keep Europeans out when we have our own people working with them? The only way to keep Europeans out is to call out and to bring justice within the system, so that we can call out all the puppets, right? Call them out, hold them accountable, so that there can be nobody else that can jeopardize our system by working with the outsider. But as long as we're still trying to, have this fairy tale peace, have this fairy tale unity without accountability, without a justice system that holds people, everybody, a government leader as well as a commoner, accountable for the crimes they each perpetrated in our countries, there's not going to be peace.
Okay, brother, let's wrap it up. We are out of time. Let's wrap it up. Last words, and then we'll call it a night. Thank you very much for joining us, Kaba Emmanuel, our elder. Yahunde, thank you very much for joining us, and everyone else who's on the comments. We appreciate each and everyone. Here's KB, who says, do you know how much criminals is in the government of the DRC? And then someone, Joanna, that's the name. Joanna says, you are right, Yahunde. It's written Biblia there, but she's told us that she's Joanna. Thank you for your contribution. Petition, please. What's the petition, Monica? Give us the petition. Closing words, gentlemen. Brother Emmanuel, let's start with you.
For me, I say Africa stop looking to the West for the help. Africa needs to hold accountable all its leaders, because we put them in power. They have to be accountable for the services or for the disservice that they've done to us. And there has to be reparation within before we can look without. Therefore, yes. Africa needs to wake up. Young people, wake up. Of Africa, wake up, because you are not, we don't say you are the future of tomorrow, you are the future of today. Because when you stand up today, tomorrow will be okay. That's what I can say.
Thank you, Elder. I'll remove you now, and then we'll have the last words from Yahunde. Okay. Yahunde, your last words.
All I wanted to say, really, for me, I'm glad that you're able to have me on the platform to be able to talk about, what's really going on, and to allow to be able to engage with the people about what's going on in our country and in the DRC. And I want to emphasize on the fact that people keep saying Congo is corrupt, Congo has criminals, and I agree with all those factors to the point that all these criminals and all these corrupt people came into power through the rebel group invading Congo and imposing peace treaties so they can get into power. So you cannot say that Congo has criminals inside, or Congo has the genocide there inside, or Congo has what's the other word? Congo is corrupted without pointing out the people that are corrupting Congo. That's what we need we need to focus on. We need to be able to focus on these people being held accountable, these criminals, the M23, and everybody else that's involved in the Congo to be held accountable. We need a system that we can hold to. Brother Emmanuel said we need a system that can hold all these people accountable, and then from that system, then we can work together to hold the European, because before we even hold the European accountable, because right now they don't even think we're worthy of reparation. But until we can hold ourselves accountable and allow that nobody among us can be corrupted, then we can be able to allow to start holding the external powers accountable. What I'm going to say is to young people, really, for me as a young person myself, as somebody that has worked with young people, I want to tell you this, that it's in your hand to bring change. Like I've said again in the past, don't wait for a hero. Don't wait for a superhero. You are the superhero. Don't wait for a savior. You are the savior. Whether you believe you are a Hebrew Israelite, whether you're a Christian, whether you are a Muslim, whatever religion you think you're starting from, I want to remind you that salvation is every man's responsibility. You have to stand up for what's right in whatever power that you have. You have to hold people accountable in whatever capacity that you have, that you've been provided. And I'm saying this in terms of our leaders. We have to be able to hold everybody accountable, so that at the end of the day, we don't have blood on our hands. Because when we stand with these leaders, because we like them, because they sound nice, because they make all these beautiful speeches, we are being manipulated. We are being recruited into participating in these crimes and genocide that is happening in the Congo. I want to encourage young people to speak about Congo, please. From wherever you are, from any platform that you have access to, talk about Congo. Talk about the women that are being. Don't celebrate the criminals. Share the videos of the women and children that are being raped. Share the video of the people that are being killed. That's the narrative that we need. We don't need to talk about the crimes happening, so that we can overlook, so that we don't, and whether that hold the Congolese government accountable, or whether it hold the Rwanda and the M23 accountable, we need to spread the information about what the crimes that are happening. That's the power that will silence these criminals. That's the only power that will silence our national leaders that are helping perpetrating these crimes. That's the only power that will silence Western powers. Once we can spread this knowledge, the crimes happening, they will have no choice but to back off. That's what I can say. And I want to pour my heart out to the people in Congo, in Goma and Bukavu, who have lost their lives, many of them in these atrocities that are happening. I want to encourage them to stay in their house, to stay quiet, to not trying to come out of your house to face these criminals, because they're criminals. They've killed people, and we know that, and we don't want to put ourselves in the face of the gun. So stay out of the street. Share the knowledge, share information with everybody if you can, so that we can know what's happening in the streets of Goma and the streets of Bukavu, as the town and the cities are being occupied by the terrorists of M23. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Brother Yahunde. Let's just read the last 4 comments before we call it a night. Joanna, who goes by the name of Biblia Bears Tabu here on YouTube, says, I believe change is coming. Kingdom of heaven will be free and powerful. Amen. Emmanuel, thank you for joining us on sharing your voice with us and engaging us. We truly appreciate your time, sir. May you be blessed. In Africa, we say what destroys a bean seed is what's inside of the seed. Oh, I would want you to explain that one day. Sounds interesting. KB says, why Felix keeps killing his citizens just because they look like Rwandans? That's a question from KB, who also said you are biased in your analysis, Yahunde, by the way. Dockside says Yahunde and his self-hate, hand on face. I don't know what that means. Emmanuel, again, our leaders must be held accountable by all means. And then the last one for tonight. Let's not separate people because of their ethnicity. I agree with that one. That's where the problem is. There is no Hutu or Tutsi. We all should come together. M23 has set a good example. I just can't leave without reading people's comments. Stop sending comments now. I'm no longer reading them. Kelani J says Proverbs 7, verse 20. We'll close with that scripture. And then RM says M23 is causing such a disaster. Then their reason for fighting is becoming wrong. Okay, let's read Proverbs chapter 7, verse 20. And then we will call it a night. Proverbs 7, verse 20. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It was a fruitful conversation, but I want us to take it further someday. I'll invite other guests to come through and speak on how we can take our continent forward, because I think that's really important. And I think this is a type of conversation we should be having on a daily basis as Africans. Hebrews chapter 7, verse 20 reads, "He took his purse filled with money and will not be home till full moon." I don't like reading scriptures halfway. Let's see if we're able to read just above that. Or maybe we can read the whole chapter. Do we have time? No, we don't have time for the whole chapter. Okay, it says, "I have covered my bed with colored linens from Egypt. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let's drink deeply of love till morning. Let's enjoy ourselves with love. My husband is not at home. This is about deception, I think. My husband is not at home.
Yes, it
He has
is.
gone on a long journey. He took his purse filled with money and will not be home till full moon." And then it goes on and on
Yes.
and on.
It's a deception.
Yeah, I think this is where we end it, brothers and sisters. Thank you very much for joining us. But everything needs to come to an end, and this is the end of our live stream. 90 minutes as we had promised, and this was it. Let's continue the conversations. Let's remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Brother Yahunde, thank you very much, and good night to you. And thank the madam for allowing you to do this conversation with us. Everyone was joining on the live chat. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your comments.
Thank you so much.
Keep tuned and stay tuned on Something Nice with Dinano. Good night. This is where we end it. Bye-bye.
Good night.